Hello Gunners, welcome to another video. And I mean, the good news just isn't stopping for Arsenal Football Club right now. I feel like every time I set up the camera, put a video ready, it's just good news that I have to tell you. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing two new signings Arsenal could still make after the window we've had, and the potential outgoings and Liverpool's result and what that could mean for us going to Anfield is going to be really enjoyable. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe and hit the like as well. It'd be greatly appreciated. But we've got to start with the fantastic news in terms of Arsenal getting in a new left back slash centre back. And if you were following or you did see my video yesterday, I actually talked about Hincapie. So a little exclusive there from me before Fabrizio's, before David Ornstein. I'm your guy, I'm only joking. But yeah, it was really nice to see that come out in the main media. David Ornstein put out a tweet early saying that Arsenal were working on a deal to sign Piero Hincapie when Kivior and Zinchenko eventually leave the club. And it's really sensible. I talked about this yesterday. I said if we can get that fee down to around 40 million, he's a really top player, and he's a player who has many good traits, and he's a player who makes sense. And I've got a longer video coming out on my tactical channel. If you do not follow already, I'm pretty sure most of you do, but I talked about Hincapie being a sort of player that's not going to lead to a drop-off if Calafiori isn't fit, because I think we all see the sort of impact that Calafiori has on our left-hand side. He adds that sort of maverick, that dynamism we have missed on the left-hand side, and he makes it tick. So, you know, if Calafiori is out, we've got to think about who can come in and we won't see as much of a drop-off. And this is no disrespect to Miles Lewis-Skelly, but his way of playing doesn't suit the way that we like our left-back to be now. But Hincapie is somebody that loves to get high up at the pitch. He can overlap as well. We've been crying out for that profile. He can do that. He can receive in the pockets as well, and he can get into the box as well and be quite comfortable. He's an outballer as well from right kicks. So there's so many positives. He's aggressive. He's on the front foot like Calafiori. So there's so many similar things, and it just makes so much sense. And we'll essentially have an abundance of options. You know, he's only 23, Ecuadorian international, and it's just Andrea Berta making signings in case of an emergency occurring. We don't want to be in the same situation as January, where we need a player because we didn't make the right signings in the summer before. It feels like now we could have major injuries, and we would have enough bodies, and there wouldn't be as much of a drop off in quality when those bodies come in. I'd probably argue whereby, you know, we would see a major drop off. It's probably from Rice and Zubamendi to Norgard and Marino. Apart from that, I would sort of say in the whole squad, we won't see major drop-offs from the centre-halves. Maybe Raya to Kepa is one of them as well, but Kepa is a Premier League keeper. The clean sheets he got for Bournemouth, he's an adequate replacement. So in terms of that, I feel as though Arsenal Football Club are building really well, and I like Hincapie for a good fee. And I feel like the best part of this deal is the fact that we have gazumped Tottenham Hotspur once again. They actually submitted a bid earlier in the morning, and it said, you know, I think it was a loan with an obligation from Fabrizio Romano, but the player never agreed terms, and Leverkusen never accepted that offer. So it just goes to show that although Tottenham really wanted him, he wanted the Arsenal. You know, it was coming out from David Ornstein, from Fabrizio, from other ones, Ben Jacobs, that he only wanted Arsenal. It didn't matter what Tottenham tried to do on the player side, and in fact there were sources coming out denying Tottenham's interest because they were that embarrassed. But the reality of the situation was they approached Hincapie, they approached Bayer Leverkusen, he said no, Leverkusen said no, he wants Arsenal. He's even pushing Bayer Leverkusen to reduce the fee so he can join Arsenal Football Club. I mean, I'm absolutely loving this summer. I think everybody wants to come to Arsenal, and there was this sort of thing from Hand of Arsenal. If you don't know him, he's on Twitter, he's an ITK, and he was sort of talking about how ever since that Champions League game, agents were scrambling, calling Arsenal, trying to sort of, you know, feel Arsenal in terms of for their clients, because we impressed the world. We were so impressive. We were so good. So every single player, you can see they're pushing to join us because they know we're so close to greatness and we're so close to having such a great quality squad. And of course, thank you to Kivior. He's been a great sort of servant. He's a player who deserves at least one Premier League medal. It didn't happen for him, but there were some really strong performances when he came in at left back 2 seasons ago when he played for the Real Madrid ties. He was so strong. So it'll be sad to see him go. I think it will be a loan with an obligation for 20 million for him to go to Porto. But before I do carry on and talk about the next signing, I have to give a massive shout out to the guys at Dragon Jersey once again. If you want to get Arsenal kits like this, you know the drill. They are the place for you. You can use code Fanatics for 10% off. I genuinely recommend it, and I've got quite a lot of kits from them. But, swiftly moving on, it's not just Hincapie. It's not just us gazumping Spurs for him. I think that deal will get done with Hincapie, and I'm really excited. I genuinely am for that one in terms of if we can get that fee down under 40 million. It's someone I didn't expect us to get in and didn't think we would spend that big, but he makes sense in the grand scheme of things, can cover centre half and left back. But another player which I'm not quite big on, I'm not a big fan of him, and it makes me kind of worried, is Arnau Martinez. And the journalist Santi Aono, he is, I think, a French and Spanish journalist, so he's pretty well renowned and tier 1 source for those countries. He came out to say that Arsenal approached Girona with an 8 million to 9 million bid for Arnau Martinez. And if you don't know about Arnau Martinez, he plays right back and right centre half. I do question whether this is an alternative to Hincapie, but it doesn't make sense. They're completely different profiles. But it made me worry about Ben White. Maybe Ben White's injury is worse than we think. Is he more physically sort of, I don't know how to put it, like cooked, I think is the word, than we Arsenal fans think? For us to be going for someone like Arnau Martinez, and I'm not saying that the rumours are true, Santiago Ono is a decent journalist, but he's not your David Ornsteins of this world. It makes me wonder, why would we be doing that? Is Ben White worse than he is? Are we looking to sell, one of our bigger players? I'm just genuinely trying to think why Arsenal Football Club would want to get Arnau Martinez in. And obviously 8 to 9 million isn't a lot of money, but I'm starting to now think, have we not got too much players heading into Chelsea territory here? And I never thought there would be a time where, as an Arsenal fan, I'm literally sitting here thinking, ooh, signing him, is that not just an overload? Are we not just doing too much? It is a crazy time. It's crazy what Andrea Berta has got me thinking in terms of a signing. And if you want to know about Arnau Martinez, he's a guy who is more attacking than he is defensive. Of course, he can play in a back three and stuff, but his channel defending isn't the greatest, but his delivery from balls into the box is very, very good. I think he got one of the highest cross percentage accuracy across Europe's top 5 leagues. So some really positive things about him. And I think, he could be a steady Eddie, those guys like a Ben White. That's why I'm so concerned if Ben White is worse than he is. He's almost like a Ben White in terms of he can do a job. He can really go in, and he's not going to put in a 10 out of 10 performance and be world class, but he'll put out some really good 7 out of 10s. He'll come up with some big moments. You'll look at him and be like, as long as he's got Arnau Martinez in the side, he'll do a job. He'll do a 7 out of 10. But I do think for Arsenal now, we're done now making those signings that I call floor signings. I think now we've got to make ceiling raisers, because I'm looking at Hincapie, Gabriel, Saliba, Mosquera. Phenomenal. Very happy with that. Left back Calafiori. Hincapie can play there as well. Luis Skelly in emergency scenarios as well there. Then I'm looking at right back Timber and White. It's enough. I wouldn't go for someone like Arnau Martinez unless Ben White's injury has knocked him out for the whole season, or fitness wise he's cooked and we maybe need to sell him. I think next summer we might see a Ben White departure. Hopefully not, but it does seem that way. Then in the midfield, like I said, it's probably the one where we're seeing a biggest drop off in quality from our first teamers, from Declan Rice and Zubimendi to Norgard and Marina. I think Marina moves on next summer, and Miles Lewis-Skelly this season will begin his integration into midfield. So you get Zubimendi, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Declan Rice and Norgard. I think we got 2 years out of Norgard. Then we get someone like Buadi, Agume, really good defensive midfielders. And then you're looking at the 10 position, Waneri and Eze. I think Erdegaard Sale is coming soon as well. Then you're looking at Madueke and Saka, really good. Havertz and Gyökeres. Havertz in 2 seasons, could he be going? Could we get an Isak next summer? You never know. And then on the left wing, you've got probably where we need a lot of work in terms of Martinelli and Trossard. I think they go both of them next summer, unless Martinelli has a stunning season, which I hope for the best for him he does that. But I think left wing, Barcolas, your Leaos, your Semenyo's next summer will be the way forward. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. Hope you've enjoyed, and on to next time. Peace.